Bastion Market Daily Live Forex Market Outlook by Trader Plato. Introduction. The purpose of the market outlook is for us all to have an elite mastery of the forex market to an advanced level. The forex market is a decentralized market that runs 24/7 from Mondays to Fridays. It has a market capitalization of approximately $8 trillion daily. Dominant and non-dominant market participants. At the top and in the middle of the hierarchy, we have the dominant market participants. That is the central banks and the large financial institutions. At the bottom, we have the non-dominant market participants. Those are the retail traders. In a nutshell, the dominant market participants make up of 95% of the market participants, while the remaining 5% are the non-dominant market participants. Those are the retail traders. This is according to research and data from the Bank of International Settlement, the Bank for Central Banks. Mechanics. Market mechanics is a unique hybrid trading strategy that utilizes technical and fundamental constants to generate accurate trading signals. Power of 3 AMD chronological order. On Fridays, we have the accumulation phase. On Mondays, we have the manipulation phase. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we have the distribution phase. Therefore, we do not trade on Fridays and Mondays, as these are the accumulation and manipulation phase of the market. Power of 3 AMD chronological order. The Asian session is the accumulation phase, the London session is the manipulation phase, and the New York session is the distribution phase. So we do not trade the Asian session, as this is the accumulation phase, but we are allowed to trade the London session since it sometimes overlaps with the New York session. Power of 3 candlestick pattern order. Unique candlestick reveal mass psychology that symbolizes the power of 3, the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Below are the images of the candlestick showcasing the mass psychology and movement of the market. We have the bullish and the bearish candlestick patterns. Liquidity and trap zones. All the market concerns about is liquidity and nothing else. Liquidity is basically points in the chart where majority of orders are pending to be filled. Thus, liquidity is the energy of the market. Without liquidity, the market will not move. These zones are as follows: yearly high and low, monthly high and low, weekly high and low, daily high and low, swing high and low. Come to the chart. New day, new target. That's how the market maker moves. So what matters the most is what price does on a new day, as yesterday is nothing but a trap for the market maker to set his bait, and today is going to look into those traps. If the need be, he sets new trap and moves the market in his intended direction. So fundamentally, as we are aware of, today is a Monday, which is the market maker's manipulation. So we need to keep in mind that we do not expect much from the market. However, we are going to analyze the technicals, even though we don't expect these technicals to play out as we predict. Now on USD/JPY, at the opening we can see an indecision candle, and the second half you can see the sellers in this zone. Keep a concept in mind: the market sells to buy and the market buys to sell. Why does the market do this? The market does this because forex trading is a zero-sum game. So for the buyers to make money, there has to be sellers to sell to them, and for the sellers to make money, there has to be buyers to buy from. So that is where the concept of liquidity comes in. The market generates buy-side liquidity for the sellers to make money. Inversely, the market generates sell-side liquidity for the buyers to make money. So right here we can see a sell-side liquidity, and what do we expect after? We expect price to break lower to induce more sellers to take positions and for price to go against them in a bullish manner with either one or two candles, and price to close to the upside. Then we can conclude that the US dollar will strengthen against the Japanese yen. Now on USD/CHF, at the opening we can see the sellers in this zone attempting to push price down. However, they fail to push price impulsively and fail to break the low of Friday. And the second half we can see the sellers trying to maintain their game. However, they consolidate within a range So following from this, we expect price to break the low of the day to induce more sellers to take position and for price to shoot back up in a bullish manner, reversing against the sellers with either one or two candles breaking the high of the day, rallying further up. Then we can conclude that the US dollar will strengthen against the Swiss franc. Mind you, there is no perfect analysis in the forex market, as every analysis is unique and nothing but a perspective of the operator analyzing the chart. The best strategy is the strategy that you know best. However, the advantage of the market mechanics, otherwise known as the liquidity concept, is the fact that you are able to analyze the market from the perspective of the buyers and the sellers alike, having a dynamic analysis, having flexibility, and just like the market, having the opportunity to change your perspective at each time depending on wherever the market goes. So now on AUD JPY at the opening, we can see the sellers in this zone, and the second half we can see this buy candle inducing more sellers and attempting to grab liquidity. Here we have the accumulation, we have the manipulation, and for the distribution to be complete, we expect this candle forming right here to form as a bullish candle, breaking the high of the day and price rallying up. Then we can conclude that the Australian dollar will strengthen against the Japanese yen. On GBP USD at the opening of the Asian session, we can see an indecision candle, and the second half we can see the buyers in this zone. Following from this, we can expect a buy to sell. So we expect the high of the day to be broken, which is already broken, manipulating more buyers, and we expect price to reverse down in a bearish manner with either one or two candles breaking the low of the day and distributing down. Then we can conclude that the Great Britain pound will weaken against the US dollar. On the euro, we can see a similar pattern to the GBP USD, as we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the buyers in this zone not making an impulsive move and failing to break the high of Friday. Following from this, we expect the buyers to be induced more, which is already happening. So we expect price to break down with either one or two candles grabbing liquidity and closing as a bearish candle. Then we can conclude that the euro will weaken against the US dollar. On the AUD USD at the opening, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the buyers in this zone. So we expect the high of the day to be broken to induce more buyers and price to close down with either one or two candles in a bearish manner. On NZD USD, we can see a similar pattern to AUD USD, Euro USD. As said earlier, these are correlation pairs and they move alike. So we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can still see the buyers. However, the low of Friday is already broken, so we expect the low of the day to be broken to induce more we expect the high of the day to be broken to induce more buyers and for price to reverse down with either one or two candles. Then we can conclude that the New Zealand dollar will weaken against the US dollar. On USD card at the opening of the market, you can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half you can see an inducement of more buyers and price going against them. So here we have the accumulation, we have the manipulation, and for the distribution to be completed, we expect this candle to break the low of the day and close as a bearish candle and rally further down. Then we can expect that the US dollar will weaken against the Canadian dollar. On Euro JPY at the opening, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the sellers in this zone. From this, we expect a buy to sell. However, for a buy to sell to occur, we expect a sell to buy, as this is a sell candle. We expect the low of the day to be raided, inducing more sellers and price to close up as a bullish candle with either one or two candles breaking the high of the day. Then we can conclude a stronger euro against the Japanese yen. On gold, you can see a classic AMD playing out, as you can see an accumulation of buy orders here, a manipulation of buy orders, price going against the buyers, and a distribution. However, this is a weak resistance, so I expect the high to be broken later in the day or later this week. Nevertheless, currently here we have a sell side liquidity for a buy, so we expect the low of the day to be broken to induce more sellers to the downside and price to reverse back up as a bullish candle with either one or two candles attempting to find new support, breaking the high of the day. Then we can conclude that gold will rally further up. On GJ, we can see an indecision candle here, so we make no conclusion on this pair. On USD CNH at the opening, we can see can see a bullish candle here, and the second half you can see a bullish candle. You can see the buyers are attempting to maintain their game. However, we expect a buy side liquidity for a sell, so we expect the eye of the day to be raided, inducing more buyers and price to close down as a bearish candle is 1 or 2 candles, breaking the low of the day and riding further down. Then we can conclude that the US dollar will weaken against the CNH. On silver, we can see sellers in this zone and sellers in this zone breaking the low of Friday. So we expect a sell side liquidity for a buy. We expect the low of the day to be broken, inducing more sellers and price to reverse back up as a bullish candle, breaking the structure, breaking the eye of the day. Then we can conclude that silver will rally further up. On DXY, we can see a sellers in this zone and sellers in this zone attempting to push price down. Mind you, just because you are selling sell or buy candles doesn't mean you should just jump into the market to sell or buy. You need to have an operandi, you need to have a mode of operation, you need to have a structure that creates a bias for your entry and exit. So now we expect the low of the day to be broken, manipulating more sellers and price to reverse back up, closing as a bullish candle. This has closed as a bullish candle. Then we expect it to either be 1 or 2 candles breaking the eye of the day, rallying further up. Then we can expect a strength on the DXY. On BTC USD at the opening, we can see the sellers in this zone. Following from this, we expect a sell side liquidity for a buyer, and we can see a successful manipulation of more sellers and price moving to the upside, reversing against the sellers. So we expect this candle to shoot back up, break the eye of the day and close as a bullish candle. Then we can expect that the BTC will strengthen against the US dollar. Plan your trade your plan, and most importantly, manage your risk and emotions. To recap all we have said, fundamentally, today is a Monday, which is a no trade day, as today is the market makers manipulation, and we expect stop losses to be hit massively. So we stay away from the market. However, if you must trade with cautions. And I wish you all the best. If you find this content useful, like, share, subscribe and follow for more.